You're watching Live Now. I'm Austin Westfall. Breaking news out of the Middle East. President Trump posting this moments ago, saying that Iran has allowed an American citizen who was wrongfully detained in December of 2024 under the presidency of sleepy Joe Biden, he says, to leave the country. She is now safely outside of Iran and in good condition. He says the U.S. appreciates this gesture of goodwill by Iran. So that's just coming through now. And then we're also hearing from the news wires, from news outlets like Reuters. They are saying that there are also sounds of sirens in Bahrain, the interior ministry there saying that. So that all happening as we're coming online talking about the latest in the Middle East. It's about 7:30 Eastern time. We're going to discuss all the developments that we've been tracking in the past 24 hours. Let's start with this, a report from Lucas Tomlinson. He reports from the region.
The American air campaign against Iran has expanded. U.S. Navy jets now launching strikes around the clock, including daylight hours, in an effort to bring Iran back to the negotiating table. This afternoon, U.S. forces hit Greater Toom Island, outside the Strait of Hormuz, for the first time. The increased volume of airstrikes an attempt to clear a path through the Strait of Hormuz to increase shipping volume and potentially paving the way for U.S. warships to sail through, something that hasn't happened for 2 months. The U.S. naval blockade has now been in effect for more than 24 hours, forcing at least 2 commercial vessels to reverse course. With Iranian ports now closed, U.S. officials estimate the return of this economic strangulation will cost Iran more than $400 million per day. Iran is striking back, hitting 7 commercial ships in the Strait of Hormuz with up to a dozen crew members killed, missing, or wounded. Iran has attacked Jordan, Kuwait, Oman, Bahrain, Qatar, and UAE in recent days with dozens of drones and missiles. Interestingly, Israel has not rejoined the bombing campaign against Iran, but are prepared if Iran fires first.
Do not count on it being quiet if you attack us. Do not count on a rerun, because it will not be a rerun.
Netanyahu is expected to fly to Washington this weekend. A meeting with President Trump has not yet been scheduled. In Tel Aviv, Lucas Tomlinson, Fox News.
Let's bring in retired Marine Intelligence Officer, National Security Analyst, and the host of the Strap podcast, Hal Kempfer. He's here with me. Hal, let's begin with the breaking news of the hour. President Trump saying that Iran has allowed an American citizen who was wrongfully detained in December of 2024 to leave the country. Trump says that she is now safe, she's out of Iran, and she is in good condition. We are, at the time of this conversation, it's just about 7:30 Eastern time. As the time of taping this, we do not know the identity of the woman. We'll wait for more information, perhaps from the White House on that. But Hal, your initial reaction to Iran making what Trump is calling possibly a gesture of goodwill?
Austin, it's interesting. That could be part of that factions, or the 2 factions kind of in competition within the regime. On the one hand, you have, Foreign Minister Araghchi, President Pezeshkian, to a lesser extent, the Speaker of the Parliament, Galibaf, although he came from the Revolutionary Guard Corps. They're the ones that have been the faces, the voices, the people that we've been talking to in negotiations. And then you have this hardliner group that's with the Revolutionary Guard Corps. And it kind of makes me wonder if they're doing this gesture of goodwill. Of course, at the same time, the Revolutionary Guard Corps is ordering strikes on Bahrain, which has been a pattern we've seen before, where they're trying to do something to, basically try to put oil on troubled water, so to speak, or whatever. And at the same time, the Revolutionary Guard Corps is on a completely separate sheet of music. So it's rather interesting. By the way, I should mention, I don't know how many American citizens are held by Iran. Usually they're Iranian Americans. Of course, with that, they would hold Iranian citizenship as well. But the U.S. has a lot of Iranian Americans. I'm in Southern California. We have a very large, Los Angeles has the largest Iranian American community, or the largest ethnic Iranian community in any city outside of Iran. So So there's a lot of back and forth that people don't realize. You know, they look at Iran, they go, who would travel to Iran? Well, they travel to Iran because that's where their relatives live. And it is not uncommon that they will sometimes be taken into custody and held for a long period of time. And the Iranians use them as a bargaining chip. In fact, there was a Iranian proxy group that was holding a female American journalist hostage, and she was released in April, not that long ago. So this is not an uncommon pattern that we've seen in the region, and certainly not an uncommon pattern that we've seen tied to Iran.
Well, is this one of the few indicators we've gotten that might tell us that maybe there is some semblance of hope behind the scenes for the two sides to make progress on a diplomatic channel? Is something like Iran allowing an American citizen to be released indicative of maybe there is still a chance that the two sides can work something out?
I think it's a gesture. And by the way, I don't think that President Trump would have used the word goodwill in what he texted if it hadn't been communicated from the Iranians that that this is an act of goodwill on their ends. I would imagine they actually told us that, and that got passed up through channels. And the president was basically just repeating the same terminology that the Iranians may have used in that regard, because that was the intent. But with that said, you got sirens going off in Bahrain right now, and with everything else going on, I would say it is a real mixed message that they're sending, and they're attacking ships. They're killing merchant mariners. It is a very convoluted strategic communication on their end. And I would not be the first that has noted that they don't seem to really have their communications plan well thought out. There just seems to be a lot of things they're doing. I know a lot of people, there's a tendency for the U.S. when we look at our opponents, we either downplay how sophisticated they are, or we put them on a pedestal and think, oh, they know exactly what they're doing, and they're playing us, and they're all this stuff. And in this case, what I see is a rather confused policy arrangement under the Iranian regime, but one we're handling militarily right now for the most part. So I don't know if we're going to reciprocate in some way with this release or not. I don't know how we would reciprocate with this, because we're in kinetic action with them right now. But it is an act of goodwill. If you want to, if they obviously want it to be seen that way, I guess we are saying yes, we see it that way.
So correct me if I'm wrong, Hal, but there is a possibility. I mean, we've seen fractures in the communication channels for the Iranian leadership. Is it possible that the fraction of Iranian leadership that might have released this American woman might not exactly be on the same page as the people who, for example, are firing at ships in the Strait of Hormuz every so often? How likely is it that there isn't the most reliable line of communication between those two factions?
Oh, I think it's very likely. In fact, I just saw something today where they just publicly executed a couple of people as well to make another statement inside of Iran. So, yeah, I would say it's you might have one faction saying, let's do this because they could do this as a gesture. What they don't have control of is the IRGC, the Revolutionary Guard Corps, firing missiles and drones at U.S. bases or at Gulf countries, Arab countries that are hosting U.S. bases. So, yeah, it's a real mixed communication that comes out of this.
How much separation is there between all-out war and what's going on in the region right now?
Well, to paraphrase a famous term, not much. I think what you're looking at, it's a matter of degree. If we ramp it up, and the president today indicated that he was looking at courses of action where he could ramp it up. He talked about things today. I believe he talked about potentially hitting, and he's not the first time he said this, but he's talking about hitting bridges and power stations. Okay, that would be ramping it up. That would probably be going further inland into Iran, away from those coastal locations that we have been hitting. So that was brought out. Obviously, yesterday he talked about hitting Pickaxe Mountain, which is where we think they are building another underground nuclear facility for uranium enrichment, and the possibility of trying to take that and move it into gaseous form, where they would then form the metal that would be used to make a nuclear device. So that the fact that we're looking at that, and there's a variety of ways, we could hit it with air, but then again, there's a possibility of actually putting boots on the ground, doing a raid. However you do that, or to hit all the subcomponents around it, all the things that support that site and take them out. That would be something that would be considered escalatory in terms of raising up the operational tempo that we're seeing in the region. So, yeah, not much. I mean, we're already doing kinetic action. It's not like we have to make this big threshold jump from not bombing to bombing. We're already bombing. But it is interesting places we're hitting. It's very interesting.
Yeah, what are you going to be watching for overnight? We're in the overnight hours right now in the Middle East, early morning hours, I should really say. When we talk about the timing of something like this, I mean, the Americans and the Iranians both, there's been kinetic activity for how many days now in a row. Hal, what are you watching for in the next 48 hours?
Well, I'm going to be watching to see what we're hitting and what we're hitting it with. I'm also going to be watching very closely to see if there's any indications that some of the Gulf states may be involved with some of these strike operations. We had something last week that indicated one of the Gulf states might have been involved with doing strike operations. The fact that we're holding Israel back, having been in a couple of wars in the region, to include Desert Storm, we held Israel back in Desert Storm. Israel wanted to strike back against Iraq, and we said, no, don't do that. And the reason we said that was because if you do, you're going to destroy this coalition of Arab nations that we put together to deal with Saddam Hussein and to deal with the liberation of Kuwait. That we're doing this now would indicate that maybe somebody there is saying, hey, keep Israel out of this, and maybe at some point we'll have the Gulf allies, they'll join these strike operations. That could be big. They all have significant air forces. UAE has a really big air force, but the one that has the biggest air force, of course, is Saudi Arabia. And they could do a lot of things. Now, I want to point out something rather interesting. We hit Abu Musa, all right? That's an island out there just north of the strait, really close to the strait. Some would say it's almost in the strait. And then there's two other islands. There's Greater and Lesser Tum, which are nearby. Those three islands are all claimed as the territory of the UAE. And you saw we just hit Greater Tum. I have to look at that and go, quite the coincidence that we're hitting these islands that are claimed as a territory of the UAE. Kind of makes me wonder if there isn't something else in the offing, some planning or something, or at the very least, it's definitely a way of communicating to the Iranians that we might solve a territorial dispute in the middle of the strait, the old-fashioned way. So we'll see. I'm going to be watching for that.
Hal Kempfer with us tonight. He's the host of the Strat podcast. You can listen to Strat anywhere podcasts are available. Thanks, Hal.
All right. Thanks, Austin.
You bet.